Today's the beginning of our What About Vietnam chat sessions, and I'm delighted to be talking to Swin today as she's sitting in Hanoi. And today we're going to be talking about just what are the distinct dishes that you would choose to eat in Hanoi. What are the 5 specialty dishes? Now, I know you might think when you're trip planning and you're planning your time across Vietnam, you might think that what is common in one place is common amongst all. Well, that's actually not the case. It's very different. The food, the style of cooking, etc., is very different in Hanoi to Central, so that would be in Hoi An and around Da Nang, and then in the south in Ho Chi Minh City. Swin is a chef. She's really come up through a really strong background with her family as support to learn about cooking at really the grassroots from her days working in the markets, the influence of her family, and then later on the education of a full chef by the name of Tracey Lister. And I've actually had Tracey Lister on the show, so if you want to refer back there. Swin has some insights that are very Vietnamese. It's going to give you, I think, some level of understanding of just what is the background to a particular dish, not only the general ingredients, but of course, just the flavors that come through.
In the number one in Hanoi, we have making talk about Vietnamese in the family. You have to talk about nộm gà xá phầy. It means the chicken with the banana flour salad.
Okay, so I love banana flour salad, but this one is a little bit different because it's got the chicken in it. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you use the chicken in it, what part of the chicken do you use? Do you use the breast or the thigh or what part?
We use the whole chicken. We are in the we are boil or steam the chicken, and we take out the meat, but we use the whole skin on in the chicken, and we are marinate within the fish sauce and sugar and lemon juice, and mix with the onion and the banana flour salad and coriander and peanut.
Right. Okay. And so is it spicy or is it sweet?
This in the balance in with the 5 flavor together. It means sweet, and you can have the sugar and the sour from lemon juice, spicy from chili, and the salty from the fish sauce. So you can feel the 5 taste balance in the one dishes. It's in traditional in the food in the north here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it something you would have for lunch or would you have it for dinner?
This is a dish in the special one in the lunchtime and dinner with the meal, and very special in the New Year for all family have in the New Year invite for family and friends come to for lunch and dinner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do number 2. What would be your number 2 Hanoi specialty?
Hanoi in the number 2 in the special dish with the bún chả, and you come to Hanoi, you can see everywhere on the trees, and everyone love the bún chả here. We can 2 kind of meats, the pork mince and the pork belly, and they marinate within the soy sauce, spring onion, and the sauce, and we can sugar and pepper. So you grow in the barbecue, and you serving with the noodle and with the dipping sauce, green papaya and carrot, balance in the dipping sauce within the fish sauce, sugar, lemon juice, and the garlic and chili. And we can some fresh herb and we can lettuce on the table. We can coriander and with the Vietnamese palm. In the prepare for lunch, the most for lunch time, not for dinner. Yeah.
Right. And is it does it fill you up? Is it something that you eat it and you get very full quickly, or?
This is perfect for in the hot day in the summer, because in quite when in the opposites the in the salads you use for the at home for the meal, but in the here the buncha in the most people in the it's cold in the they don't need to prepare too much. They cook outside barbecue and the serve with dipping sauce and noodle. So and make you very cool down in the hot temperature in the very hot in temperature here with 40 degree.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. When Hanoi gets hot, it gets very hot.
But in the
Yeah.
perfect you try for the in the winter too, because in the winter you can heat up the broth in the hot and the barbecue hot. So you know I mean about good for the summer, but in the good too for the winter too, because you can heat up in the broth and the cook the broth in the making warm up and with the noodle and with the meat on still hot. So in the good too.
Okay. Does
Yeah.
it take a long time to make?
This in the it's you need to marinate in the meat for half an hour and the broth you make it 50 minutes for. I always run cooking class in a just the marinate for half an hour the meat, but in a cook it 5 minutes and we sit down on the table enjoy. So it totally it's a if you have a just waiting the time for marinate the meat for the balance the flavor from the ingredient and the sauce. So but it cook just quickly. So not in a
Oh,
big deal. Yeah.
okay. So number 3, what's your number 3?
Oh, if you come to with the buncha in the make you in prepare in a very fresh and enjoy in the summer, but in the far in a very warm up you in the winter, and with the chicken noodle soup we are going to phở gà. So in the phở gà very special for breakfast, not for lunchtime and not for dinner. You know because. Vietnamese culture very opposite in the we only have a savory for breakfast, not for sweet. I'm the chef, but difficult for the it look like the bread and jam in Vietnamese. We always eat the something savory. So in a phở brought in the we can the you boil the chicken and you make the broth. We can grill shallot and ginger, and you serving. We can thinly slice the chicken and we can fresh noodle and we can some spring onion and coriander and we can the Vietnamese mint. So in the good the and you serve on the table with one bowl of chicken noodle soup with the nam juice and chili. So in the pho you can feel the five taste balance the same with sweet, sour, spicy, salty, but in no bitter because in the bitter it always come from the herb. So and this make the broth in we can grill the shallots and grill the ginger and make it very hot. So when you eat the pho in the winter, make you in the warm in the black temperature come in the make you very good the balance in the flavor with the broth and the noodle. So we always eat the breakfast not for lunchtime, but now you can see everywhere they sell for whole day for in the midnight time too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for Western people, they have to change their thinking about breakfast,
Mm-mm.
as you say, because Vietnamese have they don't eat sweet for breakfast, and
Yeah.
they don't have bread for breakfast or things like that. So you start your day with some coffee and Vietnamese coffee. Wow, that wakes you up pretty quick. And then they go into as you say, pho. Now pho for me is interesting because this is chicken
Yeah.
pho,
Mm.
where most of Vietnam have beef pho
Yeah.
in my experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why does Hanoi like chicken pho? Why is it unique?
If you come to Hanoi now, you can see the most very famous everywhere on the trees with the chicken noodle soup or beef noodle soup. But if you talk traditional pho is in a comfort time from the Hanoi. It means the chicken noodle soup because chicken and very in common and basics and easy to get in Vietnam more than beef. Because in the beef for traditional come from the one place the village in so far away from the Hanoi here with 80 kilometer. So in the one in the beef before the French people eat the beef, not Vietnamese. So in the one kind of village where the French people stay there, so they make the beef and they keep the prawn and make the broth, and we are making noodles. So in that's the balance. So if you talk about pho, famous the first time have to come from Nam Định province in the pho in Hanoi because the people can raise chicken in the garden, so they can make in a special one in the for family. So say making this usually we are in cook the chicken in a broth, in a boil the chicken, and we take out the chicken. You have a two-way. One you chop it and serve with the rice in the special bati for Vietnamese. But in the normal day, you can use the chicken there. So the broth you can include the shallot and ginger and make the broth it for family for the breakfast for the people sick. For in the before traditional, one in the bowl of chicken, you can make for the whole family with 6 or 7 people. It's cost you 200 or 250,000. But in the how can you get the beef? The beef in the 400,000 for 1 kilo of beef. So you have to take in long time and not easy for you get the beef bone, cannot easy for you get the meat too. So that's one in the chicken, very common in the family and easier to cook at home, only 2 hours. But in the beef noodle soup, you have to cook in 8 hours.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
so when cannot available. So in the chicken noodle soup, you can come to the Hanoi family. You can see everyone can make it at home by themselves, or you can in very easy to get at home.
Yeah.
So that's
Because you are right about the beef fur, because every time I've had a go at doing it myself here, the beef, it just takes hours to do the soup, to do the broth.
yeah,
And so I'm keen to know about the chicken one.
yeah,
But I think for everyone listening, maybe if they come to Hanoi,
yeah,
they look for chicken
yeah,
noodle soup.
yeah,
But if they go further south,
yeah,
Hoi An and then on to Saigon, maybe they can get beef easily, because that's how I found it when I went top of Vietnam. Mostly is chicken pho, and I love it.
yeah,
And then south, I tend to do Saigon, especially. I do beef pho, and it's delicious. But
yeah.
they also have they put pork in it. They put all sorts of things into the broth in Saigon. It's very different. Anyway, we're talking about Hanoi. Let's stay on Hanoi.
Yeah.
So now we are up to number 4. So that is that the prawn cake?
The prawn cake, the bánh tôm, yeah.
Okay. So that is also special to Hanoi?
Yes, and the prawn cake, very, this is like meal, not in the medium in meal for the family, because just a snack or in just a time for the party on. So it look like the finger food. You call look like the finger food and like that. So this a prawn cake, in Hanoi here, in very close in the Red River, right? So in around here, in the people grow a lot of sweet potato and a lot of banana and veggie in the Red River side. So in the past, in here we have a rice flour. In the Western, you a lot of wheat flour. We have a rice flour. So the Hanoi people always use the rice flour within the turmeric powder and the chicken eggs mix the batter. And they have a shrimp, and in the Red River, the people can go to catch the shrimp from the Red River. So they making a very perfect dish in the snake thing. So you make the batter, you can crush the sweet potato, and you make an half. Add up to that, you put in the mold with the prawn and deep fry. So in the prawn cake, in the looking very in the beautiful with the prawn on the top, we can a very crispy and flavor from the sweet potato and the rice flour and turmeric like that. So you serving with can dipping sauce and green papaya and carrot dipping sauce. We can the herb balance and we can the Vietnamese meat and lettuce and perilla and wrapping and dipping in outside. So
Wow.
you and this one before you can see it the rich family they always make it for the weekend for the children and grandchildren come to visit the parent to make it, but now you can get on the trees and this are not and not so much take a long time, only 10 or 15 minutes to have a one dish to sit down with the family in the snack meal. Yeah.
Okay. All right. It sounds delicious. I love
Mm.
anything with seafood in Vietnam. So anything I see with prawns or any of the seafood that you can get so easily, I
But
just go for it.
but in when I have a run by cooking class at home and I use the prawn cake in my menu for cooking class, and the most 100 customers so interacting and so enjoy with it and surprised because wow, in how can you make the sweet potato with the butter and the prawn? I did not use the big prawn the same in Western, and you see it, and the only very tiny prawn, and we eat the whole shell and they still alive and jumping when in the many less with the fish sauce and a pepper, and the my customer asked, oh wow, I never see this prawn is still alive, we get the prawn cake like that. So they have to repair in the whole thing, and so very interesting for the customer learn about that.
Yes, and especially anyone doing a cooking class with live prawns, cooking in the dish, that is definitely,
But in
I think,
sometime in the have a customer is scared about that because they have to killing the prawn in when they still jumping on the table like that. Yeah, but in
yeah,
they in the still interacting because they never see in the so fresh and the how in easy to make it too.
yeah. Okay. All right. So then what is our last one then, Swin? What is the number 5?
Oh, number five. I think you have a try it because in this, I think you can guess it about that. It's mean the five spring roll. We are called the lamb. This is the one that is very famous in the world about Vietnamese food, and the owner in Vietnamese children can make it too. So in the spring roll, in very easy. You can put any kind of ingredient you like and for the filling. But in traditional in Hanoi, they use the pork mince, the weekend the bean brown and glass noodle, and weekend the chicken egg and carrots, and weekend the peaches for in the filling with the mushroom and golden mushroom. For rolling up, we can the serve we can noodle and dipping sauce the same. We can kind of you use for the prawn cake with the herb, fresh herb on the table, noodle and dipping sauce, with the cream pie pie and carrot pickle in the side. But in the this five spring roll in different in the very regional in Vietnam, different area, different in they make it. Example, the five spring roll. I come from the village. They make in spring roll with the don't have a pork meat. They use the top kind of top. You cook the pork fat, so you reduce the fat and you chop the fat in less top like that, and you mix with the chicken egg and the veggie and cabbage and with the carrots and you rolling up. So and with the mint and coriander. But in the south, they mix with the pork mince and the golden mushroom and the fish, slap of fish and the prawn and the rolling. So the kind of spring roll, you try the different in the south and the north and the middle. But in Hanoi, always very easy for you to try it. and make. And all the girls have to make it when they're 8 years old with the mom.
Oh, okay.
Because
I mean, there is a difference. I know I did a cooking class in Hanoi and we did spring rolls, and that it was great to do it, and very different to how I know spring rolls, because in Australia I was brought up with a more Chinese style
yeah,
spring roll, which is totally different. And then when I went south in Vietnam, the spring roll is different again to the
uh,
north.
I think because in the very important you feel taste because of bright paper wrapper outside and the ingredient too, because the same kind of bright paper wrapper you use for spring roll, but in the north here they make by hand, the local making kind
They
of
make it by
rice
hand.
and
Yeah.
by hand and very thin and very salty. So
Yeah,
when
and
you put
crunchy.
yes, so when you put in you taste the bright paper wrapper in the very soft and very salty in the mouth when you try it. But the paper wrapper in the south very thick and not flavor, no salty, because they depend about what kind of rice you use it. The rice in the north here they plant in the not so much the water. So in the rice, when you cook and you for all the thing, they more strong flavor than the rice you plant in the south in under the water. The rice look longer but in less flavor, more than in the rice here. So that's why in the one kind of rice paper in wrapper very important for
Mm.
in the right paper wrapper you can get it in the western because the most are imported to the world from the south, not from the north. So that's why the most the foreigner in the come to my cooking class and get surprised because why the paper wrapper here so different totally in the right paper wrapper at home when they get it.
Yeah,
And
it was one of the first things I noticed when I went was the wrapper was totally different and handmade.
yeah,
But it also, when you do the deep frying, it makes the batter of the wrapper
yeah,
very crunchy and as you say, quite salty.
yeah, because the salt in the rice paper wrapper they make for the rice paper when you fry it in the more crispy than in the rice paper in the south. So in the that's why it's very different, and you can make in the keeping more in the moisture and making the rice paper wrapper better.
Yeah. Look, Swin, it's been really great to have you on the program to
Yeah,
talk about these 5 dishes, because sometimes people think of Vietnam in the whole sense and they don't realize that the food in different regions is quite different.
yeah,
And so when I go to, say, uh, Hanoi, no, not Hanoi. When I go to Hoi An,
yeah,
I will have Khao Lao
yeah,
because I know it's the only place
yeah,
I can get Khao Lao.
yeah,
So for people listening, I want them to know that there are unique dishes. And today we're talking about unique dishes to Hanoi,
yeah,
so that when they go and they see on the menu, or maybe they book a tour with you, or they do, they see street food or whatever,
yeah,
I want them to know the ones that are particular and strong and very popular and have tradition behind them
yeah,
for Hanoi.
yeah,
So that's why it's good having you on to do this. And I'm sure in the episode notes, I'll make sure that I put links so that they can contact you and maybe
yeah.
book an online course, because at the moment we can't come to Vietnam, but we
I
hope
hope so.
to
Yeah,
in the future we can.
yeah.
I just want to say thank you for coming on the
You
show
are
and
welcome.
talking.
Yeah,
And I hope, please stay safe, and we
yeah.
will talk again soon.
You too. Yeah. I hope if the end up in the virus so we can meet this and hope you will stay in the safe too. We are
Thank
on
you.
way the block now.